You're listening to the MTG Sold Weekly Podcast. This is the week of June 22nd to June 28th, 2026. Hey everyone. Marvel Superheroes released on Friday, and the market moved $1,009,252 on 7,688 units. Revenue was essentially flat from last week, down 0.6%, but units were up 12.5%. That gap tells you something. The mix shifted toward cheaper products as the restock wave hit. Release day itself spiked to 1,808 units, around $219,755. The rest of the week ran 934 to 122.6 units per day. One big day, then back to normal. Jumping into the headlines, the restock hit the commander decks, and it was not enough. This is the part I find genuinely surprising. Last week, I flagged Avengers Assemble at 41.8 average quantity with a sell-through ratio of 3.86. I said either the restock arrives or this product reprices sharply. The restock arrived, supply grew 58% to 66.2 average quantity. Sellers more than doubled from 7.9 to 16.1. Price dropped 6% to $71.23, and the sell-through ratio is still 3.78. I do not know what to do with that. The restock came, prices came down, and demand still absorbed nearly 4 times the available inventory. 250 units across 248 orders, almost entirely single copy purchases. Doom Prevails got a similar restock, supply up 60% to 87.3, sellers up 83%. Price dropped from $115.97 to $100.06. Sell-through with a positive ratio of 3.27, so 285 units on 285 orders. Again, mostly single copy. So 2 products that are already crunching at 3x last week received major supply injections on release day, saw prices drop $6 to $16, and are still above a sell-through ratio of 3.0. Either this demand level sustains and the product climbs back once the restock wave passes, or the demand was front-loaded and decelerates from here. I lean toward the former, but I want one more week of data before I commit to that. Wakanda Forever is the interesting contrast. Last week I flagged the 56.6% increase as a thin liquidity artifact on 27 units. This week confirms that read. Volume snapped back to 251 units, and the price dropped 37% to $53.22 as supply nearly doubled. But sell-through is still positive at 1.12. The restock repriced it, and demand is still absorbing above a sell-through ratio of 1-to-1. At $53 with $224 of average, at $53 with 224 average quantity, this product may have found its post-restock level. Fantastic Four dropped 20% to $54.76 on a supply growth of 85%, still seeing a positive sell-through ratio of 1.62. Same pattern, the restock hit, price adjusted, demand still absorbed it. Jumpstart is the one product nobody can get. Every other Marvel SKU saw supply grow 35 to 100% plus on release week. Jumpstart lost 41% of its inventory. Volume weighted average price went up 12.3% to $128.57. Sell-through hit a positive sell-through ratio of 3.83, the highest in the dataset. Average quantity dropped from 88.9 to 52.2. Sellers thinned from 17.6 to 14.9 average. The WotC and distributor supply crunch on Jumpstart is still in effect, and on a week when distributors clearly had product to push into the channel for everything else, Jumpstart did not get restocked. That is a meaningful signal. At 52.2 average quantity with nearly 4x sell-through, one more week of this trajectory puts available inventory below 40. If sellers drop below 12, individual sellers start controlling the price. I think this is the most important product to watch right now. Not because the price move is the biggest, but because the supply mechanics are the tightest and the constraint is external. It's not about sellers holding back, it's about product not reaching the market. The seam boxes continue to find no floor. Both seam boxes broke below $32. Villains Unleashed at $31.37 with 666 average quantity and a 0.10 sell-through. Heroes United at $31.49 with 620 average quantity and a 0.13 sell-through. Sellers roughly doubled on both. That is 2 consecutive weeks of sub 0.15 sell-through on growing supply. At current velocity, the existing inventory on Villains Unleashed alone would take about 10 weeks to clear. I do not see a demand floor here yet. Sub 28 is plausible if nothing changes. Follow-ups. And in follow-ups, Duskmoor and Endless Punishment. Average quantity ticked up to 31.2 from 28.3. That breaks the 5-week contraction streak. But sell-through improved to 0.86, and the price climbed 3.5% to $194.45. The supply side may be stabilizing while demand stays healthy. This is actually a reasonable place for the product to sit. Tight enough to sustain the 190 plus price, not so tight that one buy spikes it. I think the thesis is close to resolving. One more week, and I'll call it either way. The Strixhaven bundle, it's down 4.4% to $40.79. Sell-through dropped to 0.21. Supply grew 486.5. Last week I said one more data point under the 5% decline, and I would call the floor. The decline rate reaccelerated from a minus 3.3% to a minus 4.4%. So I was wrong. The floor is not $42. It may be $38 to $40. Keeping this active. Chocobo bundle. $286.18, down 2.1%. First decline since the breakout. Supply grew slightly to 104.9. Sellers crossed above 50 to 54.6. The breakout thesis held for 4 weeks, and this is the first test. If it stays above 280 next week, 285, 290 is the equilibrium. If it keeps sliding, maybe 292 is the ceiling, not the floor. One new thread, the Avatar Collector products. Both the Avatar Collector Booster Pack and Display both saw an increase of over 10%. They both gained on contracting supply and declining sellers. Neither has had huge volume, 26 and 27 units respectively, but pack level and box level tightening moving in the same direction at the same time is worth noting. At $410 per display, the buyer pool is full of committed collectors who tend not to exit quickly. I'm flagging this as a new tracking thread. If both continue tightening next week, the pair becomes a more serious story. What to watch next week? 1. Jumpstart booster displays are at an average of 52.2 quantity. If it drops below 40, this is a genuine scarcity on a $129 product doing $25K in weekly revenue. Seller count below 12 is the tripwire. 2. Commander deck price stabilization. Wakanda Forever at $53, Fantastic Four at $55, both above a 1.0 sell-through. If supply growth slows, these prices hold. If another restock wave hits, they could drift towards $45, $50. 3. Scene boxes. Sub $32 with 600 plus average inventory and a sub 0.15 ratio for sell-through for 2 consecutive weeks. Sub $28 is on the table if this continues. 4. Chocobo bundle. First decline. $280 is the support level. Below that, the breakout thesis needs revisiting. And 5. Avatar Collector products. If both pack and display continue tightening on supply and price next week, this is a real thread. If one reverses, it was noise. That's it. Release week data is in the full report on MTG Sold. See you next week.